welcome to The Bottom Line, where we dig deep into some of the main business and economic stories of the day. What we know for sure is that the face of the modern car industry is changing fast, especially in Europe. In recent years, Poland's car industry has made up about 8% of the country's GDP and has been a significant exporter of automobile parts in the region. But this is changing. I am now joined by Jakub Faryś, chairman of the Polish Automotive Industry Association, to give us an overview of what is happening to the industry in Poland and in Europe. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us on The Bottom Line.
Good afternoon.
So in September, the sales of new cars purchases dropped by 6.1%, and a month earlier, we're looking at a dip of 18% in Poland. How concerned are you about these numbers, and how can we expect them to affect Poland's economy?
Of course, our Polish result is much better than European one because we are, if we are talking about the Europe, more or less on the level of the last year, and we have to remember that it's around 1 million or even more to the best years. So this year in Poland, we are on the quite good position. We have quite good result, but we have to remember that the whole European result is not the very best. That's first. The second one, production, of course. We have to remember that Poland is one of the most important countries. If we are talking about the European automotive industry map, we are more or less on the 5th, 6th position. So for us, for our Polish economy, automotive industry is one of the most important part of the economy. That's very important for us as a Poland to keep the automotive industry in the condition as we have for the moment. But the fact is that we are facing a big challenge for the moment, which is, of course, changing the mobility for zero-emission vehicles, which is for us big challenge, having in mind competitors for China, for example. So for the moment, for us as automotive industry, European automotive industry, is the very important moment, first of all, just to fulfill the expectation from the European Commission, from the Parliament, from the other European, for all the European countries, switching for this zero-emission mobility. That's first. But the second one, to keep the employment, it's directly more or less 13 million people. If we say widely, is even 40 million people employed by the automotive industry. So we have to, first of all, to change our industry for the production of zero-emission vehicle. That's first. But the second one, and that's the biggest problem, that we counted, having in mind that goal of the CO2 emission reduction, which will be 93.6%. We counted that more or less 20% of our sales roughly in Europe will be zero-emission vehicle. Unfortunately,
I want to just jump in here because, first of all, the industry in itself is at a crossroads. So my next question is, does the industry actually have a strategy, knowing that this deadline of zero-emission EV requirements is so close? What happens next? Because changes are imminent.
That's why we are discussing with the European Commission. We started discussion. It's a very important point. Mr. Draghi report. Mr. Draghi is very well experienced politician. He is a person who, for many years, he discussed with the industry on the European level, of course, and in the Italian one. So this report says very openly that we have to change something in the European production to keep the position, to be a competitive if we are talking about the other countries. So we have to do something very, very quickly in Europe, how to keep the production, not just only automotive industry, but many others, to be competitiveness in the case of others. So we've started discussion. We're trying to find the best solution, but time is running very quick.
Time is ticking indeed, and the figures speak for themselves. At the moment, unemployment is very, very low in Poland, and of course, the government takes a lot of pride in that, but the figures speak for themselves. But in the meantime, can you tell us, judging by the figures, how will these figures impact Poland's economy in the months to come?
The problem is that if we have in mind our Polish production, most of the vehicles are sold outside of Poland. Just a very, very few percent, I think around 2% of the vehicles stays in Poland. The rest there is outside of Poland. So any troubles in any other countries, which not depends from the Poland, from the Polish government, from our factories, but the problem in other European countries means that our Polish factories will produce less. But we not just only saying about the production of the final product. It's also hundreds of thousands small suppliers, small companies delivering parts for OEM, for the very first line of production. So that's a problem, because we have to remember that automotive industry giving to our customers product which is very, very complicated. It's 15, even more, even to 20,000 different parts. So we are like just a very, very complicated clock. Each and every part must be perfect one.
And I wanted to ask you, to what extent is what we see here in Poland at the moment a result of what is happening in the wider scene in the industry in Europe, especially Germany, for instance?
That's also very important sign for us, because our economy, our Polish economy is linked to the European one, because we as a Poland, our automotive industry in Poland is linked with many other countries. We are very, very globalized industry. So problems somewhere means problems in Poland, especially that if we see that it's still less and less produced cars sell in Europe, because what I told before, we are more or less on the level last year, means that we have no chance to produce more. Another, which is very important factor, it's Chinese present in Europe. Still more and more Chinese vehicles are sold in Europe. So it means that, I want to say like that, cake is the same or even smaller, but still more and more people around the table.
Indeed. And I wanted to just ask you about the Chinese car maker Leapmotor. So the Polish car industry is struggling, but we see that Leapmotor is entering the Polish market in Tychy, and 2 EV models are expected to be produced within the next 3 years. Can I get your comments on that as we wrap up?
That's clear. We will have on Polish market and on the European as well still more and more Chinese brands. We have for the moment all 4 big Chinese producers. So we have to understand that year by year it will be more brands, more vehicles. There are the plan from Chinese producers that with the nearest years, less than 5, I think. They want to get more or less 15% of the European market. Means that 1.5 million vehicles will be on the European market made in China. So that's again very, very challenging for us. I mean, the European automotive producers.
And just very, very briefly, a very quick answer for you. You've spoken in other interviews about Polish hydrogen technology and the role that it will play moving forward. Can you just give us a very few words on that as we wrap up?
You mean the hydrogen?
Yes.
That's for the moment that's one of the way how to get zero emission mobility. Especially we are discussing about the heavy duty vehicles, both the same as the passenger one. That's the biggest problem is still lack of fueling station, because we have for the moment in Poland we have just a few of them, and as soon as the customer will not get enough fueling station for hydrogen, we'll have not quite big sales.
Okay, Jakub Faryś, thank you very much for joining us on The Bottom Line today.
Thank you very much.
And that was Jakub Faryś, chairman of the Polish Automotive Industry Association, and I was your host, Marie Cato. Business Arena is on every weekday at 5 p.m. CET on TVP World. For regional business stories, follow us on X and on tvpworld.com. Coming up next, World Talks. Goodbye.